Okay. So what is your name?
My name is Annette Robles.
Okay. And what is your association with the foster care system?
My husband and I were foster parents, technically for a full, I believe, 4 years. Yes, 4 years.
How old was Catherine when you first got her?
She was 16 months old.
And how long was she in the system for?
So that would have been from December 5th, 2015 to November, I guess, till sometime in November 16th, I guess that's the day we adopted her, 2019. So that was, 16, 17, 18, wait.
3 years.
So 3 years?
Yeah.
3 years. What were
Yeah,
your
Almost 3 years. So
almost
1
about
month short.
2 years and 2 years and 11 and a half months.
Okay. And what were some of the problems that you had like with the system? Why it took a long time?
I always just thought it took too long. She was so young, and her parents didn't. Okay, I can't say that they were not trying. They were trying, but her parents were not fit. They both had super duper low IQs. Neither of them really had a home. I don't know. And then there were times when they were not trying. The mom was a prostitute for a while at some point. And neither of them they had jobs for maybe a couple months each,
Yeah.
but neither of them was able to have a job. Neither of them was providing their own needs. So I think the system saw this, yet they still prolonged it for almost 3 years.
Yeah. And what were like some of the things that you appreciated about the system though?
They did provide for her costs quite a bit, so we didn't have to pay for her daycare when we were at work. So that was nice. Though that is not something offered to all foster parents. You have to get on a waiting list for it.
Yeah.
So it's not, I think it should just be an automatic thing, because what they nail in our heads is that it's not your child. You're just taking care of this child while they're in foster care. That technically they're a ward of the state. So if they're a ward of the state, in my opinion, the state should be taking care of all those needs.
Yeah.
So we were some of the lucky foster parents that, after some time, they started paying for her daycare. But there are other foster parents that don't have that. But that is one benefit we had. And they pretty much provided for all of her needs. And they had special events for kids that were like her. So we got to attend a couple of them and take her, and she got spoiled. They do try to do a lot for them.
Yeah.
Yes, so the state of Indiana does a decent job, though. Like I said, I think they can do more since they consider them wards of the state.
Yeah. So what do you think are like some changes that need to be made?
The length of time that they allow when they see the parent, that there is no hope for the child to go back into the home.
Yeah.
That's one thing they should. They say it's supposed to be 15 months. So yes, why was it almost 3 years then? 15 months is 1 year and 3 months. They're supposed to start the termination of parental rights at 15 months. That did not happen.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And I guess, and I'm sure caseworkers have a big load on their plate.
Yeah.
So maybe just assign less children to the caseworkers so that they don't have such a big load, and that they can maybe concentrate on these kids a little bit more.
Yeah.
Just things like that. More, more attention to each child.
What do you think? So, like, you know how the motto for, like, the foster care system is, like, that they want them to, like, their goal is to, like, reconnect them with their parents.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but, like, do you think that shouldn't be the goal of the foster care system? That, like, the goal should be, like, the best, like, what's best for the child, like, for them to go be in the best situation, or...
That's a hard one, because if they feel that, I don't know, that's a hard question, because yes, I think it should be to reconnect the child with their biological family. But I think after a certain amount of time, the caseworkers I'm sure they're pretty good at judging if that's a good choice for the child. So once they see that that's not the best for the child, and again, I guess that comes my answer to the previous question. 15 months. Stick to that, or
Yeah.
change it up a bit. Don't try and make it longer than that 15-month term.
Because Catherine's already like was already attached to you guys by then, and like she
Correct.
was already I knew she was like really young when you guys first got her, and like
Yes.
she basically grew up like with you guys. And if she just got taken away from you guys, like on that moment, she would just go through a lot of stress.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. And then there are kids who are in the system longer than her that do eventually end up going back or leaving the foster families, and I'm sure that's hard on them too. So yes, I do agree with that. That they do need to. That needs to be their goal, is to reunite families and try and keep biological families together, but to a certain extent. I think they need to use their judgment a little bit more, and not just let guidelines rule everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my opinion.
What's your opinion on the foster care system splitting up siblings? Like,
If at all possible, I think they should try and keep them together.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there are weird situations where maybe they can't help it. If it's a huge family with like 12 siblings, I'm sure they're considering the fact that they only allow a certain amount of kids in each home, depending on the size of the home. I think when we were foster parents, I think the most we could ever have in our home is 2 kids.
oh really?
So correct. That's all we got approved for because of the size of our home. Because when we started, we were in our smaller house. So the most kids we could ever have in our home was 2. So if we ever got a sibling group that had more than 2, then we could never take them.
Yeah.
But if our home had space and they found another home that had space, they'd split them up to just get them in a home.
Yeah.
So yes, I do think they need to keep them together, but I can see why that's not always the case.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that was all my questions.
Okay.